straight from the realm of all things gaming. Everything Noob starts now.
Episode 131, the Everything Noob podcast. I am Vortak, joined this evening by Jemmy and Dreadlow, and we are gamers and streamers of sorts. And tonight we're talking about just that. How's it going?
Good. My voice is slowly coming back.
This is a long recovery.
I think I have permanent laryngitis.
That's the worst kind.
He's turning into
I
a
don't
mute.
know. My coworkers are happy about it
We'll have to do this
'Cause I talk
podcast in
a lot.
Braille soon.
because I talk a lot.
They're
No, wait,
over
that
there.
was speech blind.
They're over there going,
It's the tits.
That's it.
I just got a new soundboard app for the iPad, so now I don't have to lug out my laptop every time I want to play sound effects for the podcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
taken me
iPads
forever.
are wondrous objects.
Yes. Well, last week's show, we talked about how the podcast is kind of feeling like it needs some change. We need to kind of do some things a little bit different, and tonight we are doing just that. A little bit later, we're going to talk about our game of the week, which we all sat down and played. Crap, I always forget the name.
Mystical Ninja.
Mystical Ninja Starring Goemon.
Yes. I've never played this game, and I got a lot of flack for never playing this game, because I guess it was kind of popular for its time.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
kind of neat.
that's fair.
Yeah.
The animations and graphics kind of remind me a little bit of what you play all the time.
What I play all the time?
on your happy. Oh, no, I was going to say Happy Street, but that's the iPod version
What are you talking about?
on the Nintendo 3DS.
Oh, Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing. That's it.
Yes. Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. It's been a very light news week, and that's part of the news year so far. That's part of the reason we wanted to change the show up a little bit. So every week we're going to come at you with a new game that we're going to play, and you don't have to beat the game. We're just going to play it and come back and discuss it. I know I didn't beat the game, that's for sure. So by the end of the show, we'll tell you what the next game is going to be. But other than that, we're going to talk about news first. And last week we talked about how World of Warcraft had this bot called Honor Buddy. This whole, group of people that made this bot. And they're like, well, I guess we're over because we were detected. Now they're talking about coming back.
That's the best way to garner attention, is to get everybody to be like, no, don't go.
Yeah. Yeah, we got
So
detected.
Well, if you insist.
So then all those people that were banned are out of the game. So now we get a whole new batch of people that are going to be using the new Honor Buddy, and then they're going to be banned eventually.
It's going to be used, in my opinion, even more than the last one, because what's going to happen is all those people who lost their accounts that they have been using for years and they were botting with, they're gone. And now they're going to be like, I want to get back to where I was, and they're going to use that bot immediately and try to get themselves back to where they were.
That would just be the ones who are willing to start again and buy another copy, though. I'm sure there's some of them who are like, I'm just done.
Yeah, that's fair, because I know if I had a game I invested years in, my account got banned forever, I'd be like, well.
Yeah, but if you're cheating, is it really fair to say you've invested the time?
Because I think a lot of people invested years and then started cheating.
Yeah, and you gotta realize that all their expansions are linked to their account, so they have to rebuy all those expansions again.
Yeah,
it's kind of an investment, really.
Yeah,
it's not as bad as it used to be, but
I just don't.
So
unless you're trying to make money, I don't see the point in cheating in these games. Legit money.
It's stupid.
So,
but isn't that against terms of service?
Well, yeah, but so is botting. I mean, if you're gonna do it, what's the benefit for you? You're letting a computer play the game for you.
Because you don't have to do the hardcore grind. You can just sit there and soak up the story and I guess the good feelings of all that awesome loot and money or whatever, and you didn't have to put in the work for it. The grogging drog.
I'm imagining that a lot of these people, what they do is they have an account that they use the bot on, and then their real main account with all their good stuff, they don't use the bot on, and so then they transfer that stuff to their regular character. That's what I'm guessing. But unfortunately, those things that are bound to you, you can't transfer it. So
I wish there was better technology to thwart this kind of thing before it starts, or right when it starts, because this obviously has been going on for a very long time, and botting ruins MMOs for people who actually want to enjoy them.
Yeah.
It's hard though for developers, because if there's only like 5 people doing it in the wild, it's low priority. So you have to wait till it is a widespread problem of a particular bot before they'll even start looking into it. And then they have to start looking for evidence that said person is actually using a bot. So you have to look at their data packets and just like comb through their history and everybody else's similar history who does the same behaviors, and maybe even find a copy of the bot yourself and watch it, the dev team watches their packets and stuff like that to see if there's any markers.
I like when I go into a game, right, and there's a guy and he's running, but he's just running against the wall. He ain't moving nowhere. He just keeps running. It's obviously a bot, right? Because he ain't moving nowhere. He's just against the wall running.
Yeah, that's...
I have been doing that myself on purpose, though, lately in 14. Okay, so I'll explain. Not too long ago, they patched in some different background music for some mounts, and it's actually quite pleasant. So while I'm like waiting on a duty queue or something, I'll get on one of the mounts that has special music. But the only way to really hear it, because it if you stop moving, it softens it up to almost where you can't hear it. So it's like, well, I guess I'll just go auto run into a corner.
You're botting.
I know, I'm botting.
That's botting. There you go. This is the ground floor of botting. You're at the beginning stages.
I need to hear that music.
Watch you lose your account now one day from some misunderstanding. What did I do?
I just wanted to listen to the horse music.
I remember, I'm sure I've said this on the podcast numerous times, because I know we've talked about botting before, and I always bring up RuneScape, but it made it impossible to play. Completely ruined the game for me. And in RuneScape, there's areas that people go and extract resources, but you have to share those areas. You can't, when you mine a vein in a rock, only one person's going to get the ore from that vein.
Yeah.
So if there's people botting all over the place, and it's just insta-click every time the vein reappears, you don't have a chance. You can't even steal it from them.
A lot of modern MMOs have fixed that problem, where those ore or extraction points are sort of instanced just for you. Yes.
If you play RuneScape, you kind of know why they don't do that. It's just kind of the nature of it. It makes, I don't know. They could absolutely make it so it was instanced, but just the way the game works, I don't know. It would be, I'm sure a welcome change, but also it would just take something away from it too. Part of the challenge of leveling up and earning money in that game is competing with everyone around you. So if the yew trees, Y-E-W, yew trees, they are worth a ton, like the logs. So people, and they're kind of sparse. So people go, when they find a yew tree, everyone gets logs from it, but the more people cutting it, the faster it goes away. And they have to wait for it to respawn. So if everyone had their own yew tree, it would kind of, I guess, mess up the economy, or maybe stimulate it. I'm not really sure. It would change the game in a lot of ways. It would definitely
alter the economy. I don't think it would be a bad change, because then people might be less enticed to bot, though, because they don't have to compete on a hardcore level to get the resources.
That's also a good point.
You'd lose some of the botting crowd, and then you would also gain some more people who are like, oh, well, it's always up. I should just get a bot and just watch a movie while I watch that do its thing.
Yeah, and that's one of the most grindiest games I think I've ever seen. So that's another reason people bot. But their botting community, as I have seen, is very hardcore. And if one gets shut down, another one pops up the day before it gets shut down. It's crazy how ahead.
Wow, they have insider info.
Yeah, like it's crazy how ahead of everyone they are. And I'm just exaggerating, but it's if your bot network goes down, just wait a few hours and it'll be right back up with a different name. So, and I think they just went ban crazy and they changed the game so much they lost not only the people who were botting but loyal players as well. I think they ended up easing up. I bet you it's easier to bot now than it used to be because they're just so desperate for money. But that's just me predicting things.
Well, some of those things, like for instance in RuneScape, the one where you put your chat above your head, right?
Yeah.
What was that? That thing you showed me?
You can turn that on and off.
Right, you can turn that on and off. I mean, like I said, they banned me for using it because I went to the new game with my same account and I still had it
auto
somehow.
typer.
Yeah, the auto typer. Or, I'm not sure what I had going on, but I know I had this thing over my head in game that was like a banner, and it was telling them what I was selling or what I was doing, and stuff like that isn't really. I don't see that would be considered a bannable thing, and a warning maybe. Hey, don't use that in game or whatever. But I mean, come on.
If you go to any trade world, 99% of the people trading use that, and I think we talked about that last week. It's
Yeah.
So it must have been something else that happened, and I'm not sure what. Maybe somebody hijacked my account and used it illegally. I don't know, because I hadn't been on it in like 2 years.
Maybe somebody just complained and said you were doing it, and the official policy is don't ask, don't tell, and they looked at your chat logs and you'd mentioned having it, and it's like, oh shit, well, he said it, so now we have to ban him.
Who knows?
There's a lot of things in RuneScape that were like that. I remember, like if you had an auto typer, yeah, you shouldn't be going around saying you have it. I always would go up to like, how are you typing so fast? And they'd be like, like they didn't want to answer. They would just go back to it, like magic, and then they would just go back to it, like, you asshole. So eventually, just kind
Mavis Beeman?
Yeah, you put 2 and 2 together, probably automatic typing, right? Auto typer. There it is. But speaking of old MMOs, good transition here into another news story I found. There's an EverQuest server that has come along and lets you play the game as it was in 1999.
What? Really?
Oh.
Yes.
No way.
EverQuest fans can relive the MMO's early days by joining the new Ragefire Progression server, which is now available to all Access members. Right off the bat, Ragefire provides access to all of the original zones that were available when the game first launched, subsequently adding in expansions at a gradual rate.
So you get to relive the game as it rolled out.
Well, if I remember correctly, the game, they didn't have... It was weird because there were certain aspects, like, for instance, chat was buggy. People were... I mean, are they going to make it like the original, like the UI and all that stuff? Or?
I don't know. I mean, I never played EverQuest. I was way late to the MMO game because I was playing RuneScape.
I imagine that they're not going to put in the things that were just really bad and wrong with it, like the chat problems and this, that, and the other, but the content will roll out.
The actual
over time. Like, so the new areas.
I'll have to check that out.
Like
I'll have to look
because
at
I can't imagine they're going to go back to the original EverQuest. Because that was, I think, completely text command. I believe. I don't know. I know. Yeah, I understand it was hard to control. I didn't play.
It was hard to get your group together to go and deal with bosses and stuff because there was no real way to do it. The chat was global, so everybody's trying to talk to each other. There was no voice thing where you can talk to each other on voice. It was weird. So who knows?
It's weird.
I'm sure they're not going to do it that way. I mean, people have Skype and everything nowadays, so
yeah, they
have ways to communicate. But that was the hard part, was communicating with each other.
It's weird to me that so many of these MMOs now are re-emerging, like the old ones, and it kind of begs the question, are new MMOs doing something wrong? Like, grossly wrong. I think they are.
Yeah.
I think they are following a business model more than let's make a great game. They have
Yes.
investors to appease. And so the turnaround time to get to that profit point needs to be like instant. And a lot of MMOs can't do that right out of the gate. So the investors back out and the game just tanks. And nobody wants to sit there and support that until it get some steam and people tell their friends and they're like, oh my god, you got to play this game, it's amazing. No, they
See, I'm still waiting for EverQuest Next. You know, they came out with Landmark, you know, kind of like an intro to the game, you know, type thing, like, oh, here's we can build the game, let's build the game. It's been like 3 years since they've announced EverQuest Next, and I haven't heard any more on it.
It takes a long time to build an MMO, so I would say, what was the last time you heard something about it? Has it been like a year?
When they invited me to Landmark.
I
was like,
haven't heard anything about it.
6 months to
6
a
months?
year ago.
Maybe
I went
something
into
at
Landmark
E3. It might have gotten canned, though. I doubt it, but if you don't hear anything about E3, look for it next year.
Well, I'm on the website now. EverQuest is still in development. It says
Should be getting close to the end of development because MMOs that's a very long project to develop.
And it keeps on going afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the initial thing is you usually have to find an engine that can handle that, or you have to build one from scratch.
Yeah. I mean, another great example of an old MMO reemerging is RuneScape Old School, but they kind of admitted to their own faults on that one. And then people are still playing WoW. I mean, and WoW's been around for 10 years now, 10, 11 years. And it keeps getting upgrades and expansions, and it's going strong. It's probably the strongest one of, you know, RuneScape. And between RuneScape, EverQuest, and WoW, obviously it's winning. But I went and played Wildstar, and just like the whatever alpha, beta that came out, I hated it. I was enraged by how boring Wildstar was. And it was supposed to be this amazing thing. But all I felt like I was playing was World of Warcraft in space with a more complex UI. And I don't know if anyone out there's a fan of Wildstar right now, and they've made a lot of improvements, but it was enough to make me go, nope, like, you're still doing the same boring crap all MMOs do, and I'm just out.
I've heard they've really kind of ramped up that game and changed it. Now, I don't know for sure. I couldn't tell you what they've changed, but I remember everybody was hugely let down when it launched, and they made, like, a lot of updates to kind of, and the people who love it now are like, it's great now.
Yeah.
So they fine-tuned it. If anybody was looking to think about looking at it again.
Yeah, the map was impossible to navigate, and the quests were just so boring and weird. It's like you're on this space station, but it has all kinds of weird problems, and you have to go around doing all this crap. And I was like, no, this is the same as it always is in every MMO. Like, kill 10 of these and come talk to so-and-so. I'm like, no, I don't want this. I don't need this. And so it just made me want to go back to World of Warcraft, because if I'm going to play a game like that, I might as well play one I know, and the UI makes sense to me. So for a while, I was playing that again. And
that sounds like you have a gaming crutch more than a.
Yeah,
what did I call? What did I call it? I called WoW the amusement park, online amusement park. It's just got so much content to it. There's nothing out there that can beat it. You know, I've tried lots of MMOs, and they're good for a while. Very beginning, it look like they're a lot of fun. Then they just become very grindy, and then they bore me. World of Warcraft has always held on to my attention, but it just costs too much money.
Yeah.
If it was free to play, oh my god, that would be it. I would
get on there and grind a bunch of gold.
I won't log into Steam for a long time.
You can buy your membership in-game gold now.
Yeah, I noticed that. They sent me an email saying you can buy tokens now. You can, So yeah, you can do that. But
it's just funny that like EverQuest is coming back in that way, and I mean, I don't know. Are they going to charge for those servers? Or it's probably it.
If
Obviously,
it's officially
isn't-
hosted, I imagine it's like a part of some service.
I don't think it's official. It's the Ragefire server. So whoever those people are probably the ones running it, like
Are
a
the
private
ones that-
server.
Yeah.
And maybe you donate
probably
to
what's
them, or
happening.
maybe they have their own payment subscription. Obviously, they wouldn't charge as much as like World of Warcraft charges today because it's an old ass game, and they're probably lucky anyone wants to play it. But I bet you a lot of people are going to play that. I bet a lot of people are going to go back and check it out. Because I know a lot of people went back to RuneScape when Old School came out, and even though many didn't stick around, a lot did. A lot were just happy to see the game they remembered again. And
Yeah, there's a membership fee. You have to be an all-access member of Ragefire.
okay.
And there's a membership price. I'm like clicking. It looks like a standard MMO price.
Really?
$14.99 for a month. 3 months is $12.99. It's standard.
So do you get more with them though, like other than just EverQuest?
It's the Daybreak All Access. So what was? You get EverQuest, EverQuest 2, PlanetSide 2, and DC Universe Online PC.
Oh, all right. So so it's more than just
Yeah.
one game. That makes it worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, for that price, yeah, it is. Because you get bored with one, you can hop over to a different one.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your MMO news. If you're into old ass MMOs.
Oh yeah, I'm watching a video right now of it.
Another.
Yeah. It was a mess.
Another. I think I'm missing something you guys are watching that I'm not.
No, I'm not watching anything. Just him like, it was a mess. It's just like, oh my god, are you kidding?
Well, another little tiny story that has come out. Gauntlet is getting a free update, and the devs have kind of gone back and changed core parts of the game that they just felt like didn't make them feel like the original Gauntlet. You know, they didn't get the feeling they wanted to out of it.
Are they
So,
really?
Yeah, they're making improvements, and it's kind of vague, but it's kind of exciting because I only played a little bit.
I was about to ask, what are they changing? Because I was like, I think the game's kind of short, but other than that, I had a good time with it.
Yeah,
Not that I can't see improvements.
Yeah. Didn't get into specifics, but said the update will include improvements to the campaign, Coliseum, as well as an entirely new game mode.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I wonder what that would be.
I don't know. I didn't even know there was a game mode outside of the campaign, and it's Coliseum.
Well, I know
was
the
the
original
expansion pack.
Gauntlet. There really was no campaign. You went through different phases. You know, you would go through and you get done with that dungeon, and then you'd move on to the next one. You know what I mean? Are you talking about a campaign, like a storyline?
I mean,
Well, yeah, you'd go through those like dungeon areas all the way to the end. There was like a storyline in the new one.
yeah. It was, I mean, you don't have to, you can beat one part and then go back to another one if you want. It just kind of unlocks different rooms as you progress. Would Coliseum be just like
I think that's the PvP arena.
So, whole new game mode. For
I
Gauntlet.
it wasn't there when I played it though, because I
Maybe
played
it'll
it
be
launch,
classic Gauntlet.
classic mode.
Yeah, we wanted to make the game more like we remembered it, and then they just add the old game back into it.
You know what? Like a randomly generating dungeon that's just kind of like go as long as you can would be kind of awesome.
That would be pretty cool.
That's
I was
basically the way
envisioning,
I
like,
remember
waves of
Gauntlet.
enemies.
I remember
like a
Gauntlet.
survival?
You go through. Yeah, you have to kill the skeleton pile so that no more skeletons spawn out of it.
Yeah.
But you go through the whole thing, and then when you're done, you exit, and then you open up to a new one. Now you got to go through that, and then you got to, keep going. And I never really, I don't think there was keys. You have to collect the keys and open the doors or whatever, and it just keeps going. It's like it's endless. So I don't remember a
the
campaign.
final
for
boss ended it.
it. Yeah, I guess there was a final.
How did you not get to the end?
I haven't played through the new Gauntlet.
Enderman got in the way.
So I'm
No,
the only one who's beaten it.
Yeah, I think it was just a matter of getting people together to play it, and then I didn't have time, and I still don't have time.
I got
for anything.
really good with that ranger.
I know the mage got kind of complex, like all the different attacks, and that was like one thing people were like, playing the mage is like hard.
I don't know how you would play the mage without a controller. That's all I'm gonna say. Because you had like somatic control or whatever you want to say with key presses to change your spells. It was so complex compared to all the other classes. It was bizarre that they went that route with the wizard.
Yeah. I mean, I usually play with a controller anyway, so maybe that's why when I played the wizard I didn't see that, but I also didn't get that far, so it didn't unlock a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know. Just kind of depends. Someone in chat just said something that kind of distracted me. Maxwell says, I want to get into ESO. I hear it's pretty good. And ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, just did actually end up doing like a free-to-play version of the game. And if
they did.
If you pay, you get extra stuff.
Yeah, they finally opened the door, but you still have to pay for the game, the base game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, that one was on my list of MMOs I didn't really like, but not because they did a bad job. It
wasn't Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, it felt like Elder Scrolls when you first got in, and you looked around, and you're like, "Whoa, I'm in a massive world," but it feels like Elder Scrolls. And then as you start to do things like go on quests and stuff, I mean, it doesn't feel like the same old World of Warcraft feeling, but it definitely feels different in a bad way. Like
I've noticed that when I played it back when, remember I was in the closed beta.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrible. But it was in closed beta, so I mean I can understand.
It wasn't.
But I've
quite
looked
finished,
and I've been watching
though.
some videos of it, and it's really improved. It's very similar to Elder Scrolls like Skyrim or something like that. It's very similar to it, but it's still it's obviously not.
Yeah, I feel like
That's the only thing.
they could have done more. Because in Skyrim and Oblivion and all those games, you could join the Thieves Guild, for example, or the the Dark
Oblivion
Brotherhood.
Right.
You don't have that in this because that's all like NPC guilds and stuff. I guess it wouldn't fit too well, but I think you could have done something with that.
They could have done a storyline kind of similar to what World of Warcraft would do, where you join this guild and at the end of it all, you get a badge or something.
Yeah.
I didn't like how you kind of like were pigeonholed into a class and stuff. I'm like, whoa, wait. All the other Elder Scrolls, it was kind of like there was specialization, but it was like all open, and you could do everything if you wanted to sit there and grind it out. And now I'm like pigeonholed in this little like skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not really Elder Scrolls.
So, yeah, that's just another MMO on my list that disappointed me. Like, out of all the new MMOs that have come out, a friend of mine got me into it, or tried to get me into it. So I get it. I'm like, all right, how bad could it be? I wasted $60. That's how bad it can be.
Yeah. I really think Guild Wars 2 is still one that I would probably go back to. It's one of those kind of games that it's kept my interest. It was really cool. There was a lot of things involved. There were a lot of things to do. Those instances that just happen, like you'd be walking down the road and there'll be something going on and you can get involved in it. It just made that game so much more fun. But other than that, you're right. There's nothing out there that's really sparked my interest. I've tried lots of MMOs and I haven't been able to, everything I play, I compare to World of Warcraft, and nothing beats it. So,
yeah, that's the big problem.
I don't know that feeling, really.
See, I think if you've never played WoW, or if you've played WoW and you kind of like lost interest early on, it's a lot easier for you to enjoy some of these newer MMOs. But if you've played WoW and you got into it, like really got into it, it just makes all the other ones look so bad.
It's the Disney of MMOs.
Yes.
Seriously.
And that's what I loved about it. When I first played, I played like a human in the Alliance because I'm boring. And it literally looked like I was walking around Disneyland.
and it's comical. There's a lot of comical things in there. It's just a lot of neat. Like I said, it's an amusement park, an online amusement park, basically. To me, there's just so much to do.
Yeah.
But then I get bored, and that's only because, it gets boring when there's nobody to interact with. When it's just you.
Yeah. Exactly. We should get into
you have to definitely play with friends.
Definitely. That's
why me and my friends, we made a guild and we run it, and we have been inviting people from the game into our guild to come be a part of our community.
Yeah. That's the best way to play any MMO. I would make the mistake of buying a new MMO without knowing if any of my friends were going to play it. I'd get in there, and sure enough, I'm the only person I know playing it.
Right.
And I don't want to play with these strangers. I don't, And
what? Why even buy an MMO if you aren't even at least a tad willing to play with strangers?
I'm willing, but I like the way you're doing it. You had friends, and then you've expanded from there. I don't like going into it and then like trying to find another clique to join. It's just all alone, and then I'm like,
we have invited like one person or whatever, and they'll be like, oh wait, my friend's coming back because I told you guys you guys are so helpful, and they didn't like how we couldn't get anything done because we couldn't get other people who were nice, and so like we have accumulated several cliques worth of people into our guild now, so it's like we have our little cliques, but everybody's really tight anyway. It's really kind of nice and friendly.
That's good.
I'm very proud of it.
I mean, what's interesting about WoW is you never know if you're playing with Mila Kunis or not.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, some people will get this. Hopefully in chat. Hopefully those of you listening, you know what I'm talking about.
No.
You could be playing World of Warcraft, and then all of a sudden you're playing with somebody, and it's Mila Kunis.
You're probably playing with the soccer mom. Deal with it.
No, seriously, she is a World of Warcraft player, and I thought that was kind of interesting to learn that.
Yeah, but
you guys know who I'm talking about, right?
Probably playing with a soccer mom. Yes, I know who you're talking about.
I don't think Dan does.
I know who you're talking about.
Oh,
I just don't understand why you pick that name.
Well, because you're saying that I don't like playing with strangers. You never know who you're playing with, and I thought, well, you could be playing with Mila Kunis.
Or I could be playing with some fat hairy man claiming he's Mila Kunis.
That's true,
That's probably more likely.
Yeah.
That's more likely, yeah.
Anyway, game of the week. Last week we asked you guys what our first game of the week should be. We're sticking to classics from the N64 era, and I don't know how far to the future we'll go from there. I can definitely see us going back and playing.
Can we go further past?
Yes, I can definitely see us going the other way. But the game that was suggested to us was Mystical Ninja Starring Goemon. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Okay, finally.
For once.
I actually tried to make a vlog, and recording it, I kept screwing up the name and going, damn it, what the hell was it called? And I'd look it up and go, okay. And I'd start talking again, and then I'd forget it again.
I know.
It is an odd title. And they keep throwing the title screen at you throughout the game.
Yeah.
Did you get to the giant robot?
I did get to the giant robot.
What'd you think of that song?
I was more thrown off by what the hell was going on the screen. Like I'm listening to a song and it looks like Power Rangers, and I'm getting into this giant robot. But for anyone who didn't know you were going to play this game or doesn't know what it is, real quick, I want to describe to you what it is. I think it's a game. It's about
it's an adventure game that kind of the best comparison.
Japanese Zelda.
Yeah, Japanese Legend of Zelda would be the best way to describe it if you had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really incredible for what it is, a Nintendo 64 game, right?
Well,
That's an adventure game, like almost similar to, what we play today. There's kind of a storyline. The only thing I couldn't, when you go like to the inn and things like that, everything was in Japanese, so you didn't know what you were going into.
No, but the symbols are the same, so you kind of just learn it. What
I guess I could just memorize.
They even changed like the curtain style, and
Yeah,
whatever,
true.
buildings.
True. There was the blue curtains, and then there was the kind of orangish curtains.
They had
But still,
shadows
anyway.
on them.
I started to kind of see that a little bit, but I only made it to the second town. I was playing it, and I don't know. The first giant robot encounter I had a lot of trouble getting through like the first fight, and finally I learned a couple like the main combo you can do to get through that. So
Did you find all the silver pieces? The cat thing?
yeah, you get an extra heart container if you find these silver cat things.
Which
Yeah,
is your
I found
strength.
one. That's the only one I found. It was just the one, and I haven't found any more.
I was like, oh, my attack power is going up. Nope, just extra life.
I got really upset about that. I'm like, what the
I
hell?
said something about strength. If you collect them all, it betters your strength or something.
It's your health bar. It just goes
Oh,
up.
that's what it means by strength. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Not strength as in power. Okay.
It's really difficult to decipher what they were trying to do to screw with you, because I know it's a game that's like a big parody of itself. So there's like a difference between the jokes they were trying to tell and the fact that it was just Japanese, so there's like different things. So saying, oh, you get extra strength if you get these 4 things, we assume, oh, cool, like our attack is going to go up, and then we get an extra heart container, and maybe just the translation and the way they view strength is, extra, life.
Right. It's a possibility.
So I don't know, but like there are scenes in the game that there was a laugh track, like
Yes, the canned laughter. I was just like, this is so cheesy. It's amazing.
I didn't catch that.
yeah,
Oh,
you didn't get very
well.
far, did you?
No.
That would be
No,
why.
I was climbing up the mountain Fiji or
Mount
is it
Fuji?
Fiji? Fuji?
Mount Fuji.
Fiji, Fiji, whatever. Anyway, I was climbing up that, and then the game crashed on me, and then I tried to get back to it again, and I got a little higher, and then the game crashed again, and yeah.
Yeah, the version I was playing had a lot of like bugs. It was just, I don't know, it was just kind of choppy, and the sound was a little bit messed up. The graphics were definitely messed up in some places, like definitely the border of the screen during loading screens. That's just kind of the nature of the beast, I suppose. But otherwise, fun game. I mean, I kind of wish I had played it as a kid.
Oh,
yeah.
I did. It was good.
I was asking coworkers if they'd heard of it. They're like, "You've never played that? Like, what's wrong
There
with
was
you?"
a lot about that game that I did not remember.
Like what?
Just a lot of it. Like I remember some of the major points, but like just the grog through the zones from like point A to B. I was like, wow, I don't remember ever doing this. I really upplayed what I remembered about this game. I'm like, it's really not as good as I remember.
There's a lot of wide open space in it. I think that's what kind of
just
things off.
empty, pointless spaces.
Yeah. If they would have filled that up a little bit more,
Yeah.
probably be a...
I think wanted that game to feel big, I think, and they kind of went about it the wrong way.
That's fair. Games today just don't waste any space. I mean,
No, there's a rock or a tree
a
everywhere.
lot of games today are just like insane hallways too.
Yeah.
So
It can go one of two ways, but if you're going to have a game with landscape... Oh, excuse me. That's so rude. If you're going to have a game with landscape, they're going to go all out on the landscape. But in this game, it was like, oh, wide open space, and you would look around, and it's just like pictures of flowers just all over the ground in a grid.
well, that's kind of like
I
the
guess
system you were working with.
Yeah, but no trees, no rocks, no anything. Just
these funny masks coming at you and these weird girls.
They
with
were
pink,
robots.
these weird.
The alien
They had pink
robots.
dresses. You got to watch out for the blue dressed ones because they throw things at you.
they kept saying robots, and I'm like, I've only encountered.
I just heard aliens.
Yes, they were alien robots who came in on a peach spaceship flying saucer. I didn't beat the game ever.
I just want to know what Nintendo is on.
They didn't make
look
it though.
Look at Mario with mushrooms and all kinds of craziness.
That's what, like, if you were Mario and you ate a mushroom, that's what you would see is Mystical Ninja.
Yeah, that's it.
If you went first person with Mario.
That's what
I
Mario
feel
plays.
like that game would be, if I was into that kind of stuff, like that would be a good game to play while high or
just
really
love-
drunk.
Yeah, I love games where you go into buildings and there's different things, interact with different people you
had to interact with people to know what to do with that game. Like that's old school, no
you
hand
left
holding.
you in the middle. You're
Yeah.
in a place.
Good luck.
You go, okay, what do I do?
Go
I tried
wherever.
to jump over the first thing I try to do is jump over that when you're in your room, you try to jump over to get into the area that you can't get into.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't get over. So then I get out, and then I'm just left there, and there's just people walking around. Did you guys, when you went through, I went through one of the doors to go into another part of the town, and as soon as I stepped through the door, this guy is coming running at me, and
Oh,
he
the
hits
thief?
me.
Yeah.
Is that what he was?
Yes.
Yeah, he took
and you have
50%.
to like ding him with your pipe.
I know,
to
but
get your money
he was
back.
too fast. As soon as I loaded, the screen loaded, he was there. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
What a
He's-
stupid... He took off.
I had
He
a lot
ran
of
it.
camera issues during the first like dungeon, aka castle. Every time I'd walk through a door, the camera was like stuck in a wall.
Oh, I hated that.
And I ended up getting like clipped by monsters. There was one room where I literally didn't see my character until I was already flattened by the thing slamming from the ceiling. That was really frustrating.
I felt
And I
really,
had to like learn how to manipulate the game to where I didn't really walk into the room so I could get the camera to move so I could know what I was walking into.
yeah.
But now, did you guys use a controller or a keyboard?
Controller.
I used a controller.
I used a keyboard.
Oh.
Oh.
You know how hard that was to turn? Because when I turned, the camera didn't go with it. It took a while for the
Well-
camera to...
Even with a controller, you'd have that problem because
Oh, really?
N64. N64 only had the one joystick, and there's no camera control generally.
Well, it worked out all right for me. All the keys were right. It was perfect. I thought the camera was because I wasn't using a controller.
No, that game just gave zero camera control. I would have liked at least a button that would let me center the camera behind the character.
Yeah, like instantly or whatever.
Because there was a lot of platforming elements, and your
Like when
camera
I'm
would
trying
be
to go
center
up-
sideways around a corner. I'm like, I don't know what I'm jumping at.
I'm going forward to line up with the ladder to go up the ladder, and the camera's still face this way, so I don't know where I'm at. And then I start to go, and I start to go up, and then my camera moves like that, and now I'm going up. That was crazy. It was weird. So yeah.
I felt really dumb because I was in the castle area, and you have to collect these silver keys to get through different doors. And I'm collecting the keys just fine. Everything's going great. I'm killing monsters, and there's a key. It's very intuitive and obvious. I'm like, okay, cool. I get to this one room, and you need a key, and then there's some monsters, and I fight them, and I don't get a key. I'm like, the hell? So I start to walk back and backtrack and backtrack and backtrack. But before I left, there was this room with these three, and I think you just mentioned it, Jimmy. There's this room with these three flatteners, basically, that come from the ceiling and flatten down in these three spots. And I climbed on top of one, and I'm like, oh, cool, you can ride this up. Anyway, where's that key? So I left the room.
Oh,
I
no,
come back, and
you
I'm like,
missed it.
I'm missing something. And
Oh my gosh.
sure
it's
enough.
like right there.
Yeah, it was in the middle flattener thing. I just had to ride it up and grab the key. Like, oh my
jeez.
god! And I did like a small like stream today of me playing this game, and
Did you really?
yeah, just a quick one. Just I hadn't streamed in forever, and I don't know. It was just me screwing around in it, and yeah, I felt pretty damn stupid.
I got to the ghost castle or ghost toy castle.
No, I didn't get that far. I got to the second town after the big robot fight, which I had a lot of trouble with.
So did you save the dragon?
No.
Oh, you didn't get far at all, did you?
No, I did not. And from what I understand, it's a very long game.
Yeah, it is. From what I remember, I did not get as far as I did in my youth. I never owned the game. It was always a rental. So like every time I got to rent it again, I had to start over
yep.
because the save file was gone always. So You'd try to race right back to where you were again, like so you could squeeze in maybe another hour or two where he had to return it.
Yeah, I hated renting games like that. I just stopped renting games after a while because it was just so disappointing. It was all the stuff was on the cartridge. And today it'd be perfect, but now people just kind of buy their games and get pissed off. There's not a whole lot of renting going on.
Yeah.
I wish there was like rental services, but
Well, is GameFly still a thing?
yeah, but I don't know. It just seems super inconvenient. I mean, I feel like Redbox is inconvenient and they rent games out.
Yeah, they do, and it's expensive though. I mean, GameFly seems a lot
Yeah.
more affordable, but
I don't know why. I mean, why doesn't
I have some
somebody?
issues with GameFly, so that's where my personal hangup is. I've heard too many horror stories of the discs getting stolen and your account getting shut down because the mail
this is
stole
what I
it,
don't understand.
and then
Why
you had to pay
can't-
for it.
Why can't we have a rental service where we rent the game, download it, play it, and then it deletes from our account?
Because pirates.
You can pirate a CD or DVD when it.
yeah, it's stupid because you can
It's
pirate a
stupid.
game you can pirate any game, whether it's
It's on a
rentable or not.
DVD. You can pirate it. What's the difference?
I
You
know.
Install it onto your system.
But
Therefore,
in
you
their
got
head, not allowing you to download it means you had to have had an official copy come from somewhere. They have more control of it that way. So
Yeah, live.com.
that's why they
just
don't
went
like
out
that.
Went out. They're no longer doing that anymore. Live.com, and it was a rental thing, but the problem with them is that you were playing off of their equipment. You were streaming their game. So you were renting it and you were streaming it from them, or you would purchase it from them. And the problem is we need one where we can download the game like Steam, but rent it, for
I think it would
14
work
days or
really
whatever.
well on consoles, through like the PlayStation Store or something.
but we need a PC one.
Well, PCs I see as always being a problem because of pirates, and like companies are not going to be down for that. But I could see it going well with consoles.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
Especially,
PC
but there's already a kind of rental service on PlayStation with what is it, PlayStation 1 account, or no, what is
So
it,
you
PS
think-
Plus?
yeah.
Yeah.
So you think the reason why these companies that sell games or physically rent games, are just having a problem with the actual publisher?
It's probably just fear across the board. I mean, PCs are very open-ended, whereas a console is more locked down. So you have a lot more control over renting games on a console versus on a PC, because
Especially now with the new gens, they could literally send the kill switch to be like, just auto uninstall.
Oh, wait a minute. GameFly does not.
Or just
Does
don't
not
launch the
rent
game
PC
until they
games
quote
anymore?
unquote re-rent.
Yeah, I could see GameFly also refusing to rent PC games.
No, but they used to. That's the funny part.
They probably got too many of them ripped.
Wow.
That, or publishers have pulled loaning them discs to rent out. But then again, a lot of PC games are now you have to enter a code, 1 copy per person, and whereas with consoles,
See,
it's
I
not as locked down like that.
you remember how Xbox One was supposed to be online only? You couldn't even use the console unless it had an internet connection, and everyone raged and finally.
Oh
they,
my
like,
gosh, ew.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that was a good way to do it, but if they did do that, then they could absolutely rent games that way, because you're always connected to the internet. There's no like downloading the game and then disconnecting, But I mean, you could still do that and just say, oh, if you want to play or rent a game, you have to be online. So, kind of a moot point, but I don't know. I guess
That'd
we'll
be
just see.
nice.
Yeah. Ooh.
I'd be
Yeah,
down
and see,
for
that's
that.
how Live.com got away with it, because you didn't actually download the game. You played the game from their system, so they
Yeah.
could rent it to you.
I
They
think
could
if
rent
a
it to you
bigger
$7.99 a month or whatever.
if a bigger company tried to do that same exact thing, stream the game to you instead of letting you download it, it would be successful. But they just probably didn't have the financial backing to stay around.
I'm sorry,
Well,
it's called
they've kind of
online.com.
Gotten a couple of lawsuits due to some legal issues because they're kind of, if they didn't ask permission, they were kind of working in a legal gray area.
No, I mean that was the reason why they probably got permission to do this, because no content is actually downloaded to a person's computer. You're actually streaming the game from their equipment via the internet, so you're playing the game on their equipment. You know, you see what I mean?
If they didn't get permission still, it's a whole bunch of people who could have potentially bought the game that got to play it.
Well, then you
Exactly.
can purchase the game from them too. And then that game is in your library on their system, and if you wanted to, you could download it onto your computer. So they not only did they rent the game, but it was stream only, and then you can purchase the game for stream and PC, and then you can download it from them, kind of like Steam, and install it into your system, into your computer. And then you got the game for free. Then you got the game because you purchased it. But it was a cool little system. But the problem, the streaming thing was a problem. I mean, it uses a lot of data, you know. And if you got a cap on your internet, you're kind of screwed after playing a few games. And other than that, it was also people with bad internet, so you couldn't really do it. So
Yeah.
I think maybe in another few years when fiber optics gets big, that's when we'll see OnLive come back.
Well, before we get too late into the show here, we're getting ready to wrap up soon. I wanted to talk real quick about the next game. We never really talked about this before the show, which is a habit we'll have to try to break into here. But since chat seems to be pretty active tonight, and I know you guys are still really chatty right now about the DRM and things like that. So real quick, Kyrick says, how would they keep you from keeping it installed indefinitely? Would it be some kind of form of new DRM that has like a set 3-day time limit before it locks unless you rent it again? And they're just kind of going back and forth. You can crack that.
Exactly. Well, that's what I was going to say.
Well,
Pirates, that's why they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you have a game that when you download it, it's like written to a key that you can only access by logging into their system. And then once you're logged out of the system, you can't play the game, and you need that key to make the game work. And there's no way a hacker can come up with the key because it's completely encrypted. It's also like it's a hashtag that's freaking huge that you would have to know what the variables are to create a key to unlock
A code
that
junkie
game.
could work
That
around
would be a way.
it. They just avoid that whole check to begin with.
Yeah.
True.
Well,
That keeps the honest people honest. Locked doors are for honest people.
I was gonna say, should we talk about the next game? Game of the
Oh
week?
yeah.
So it's been decided.
No. I was gonna say let's stick to Super Nintendo this time.
Super Nintendo.
You guys
okay.
okay with that?
Oh jeez.
Yes.
All right. Give
I
us
was so good at that game.
Give us a recommendation for a Super Nintendo game you would like us to play this week. Preferably one that I haven't played before. Not that you know what those are, but it would be pretty easy to find
because
one.
they just have a list of that.
Yeah. What I was going to say is we would hope that you listeners out there would also join us in playing the Super Nintendo game, and then you could be involved in the next discussion for Game of the Week. Whether it's leaving a comment or a voice message on everythingnoob.com, or just listening so you know what the hell we're talking about.
Or ask a question about the game for us. That works too.
Yeah, absolutely. So while we wait for people to think of a suggestion, I'll play this.
Let's hear from the Noob Nation.
There we go. Some hold music for you.
Do, do, do.
Oh, you chatter, shut the hell up now. You're like, wait, I have to work? I'll just kind of scroll.
They're thinking really hard because I know they're going to think of something really trolly. They're like, what's going to make him rage the hardest?
Oh, yeah, of course. They'll wait for me to stream it, too.
I'm just thinking of like a couple of Super Nintendo games I played, and I can think of some really good ones that made me rage that somehow were easier on the Sega Genesis. But we're not
One of
going to
my
name names
favorites-
because I'm not giving anyone any ideas.
What was Dreadless saying?
I was gonna say one of my favorite games on there was Goonies. Goonies 2, I think it was.
Really?
Yeah, that was a cool game.
What?
That was a great little game. You should just check it out, man. It has nothing to do with the movie.
None of them did. Oh,
yeah, it was just
movie
just a
games
side
had
scroller.
nothing to do with the movie.
Just a little side scroller that, you know.
Have you guys heard of Romance of the Three Kingdoms?
Yes. Oh no!
Uh-oh.
Is that what we're picking?
That was suggested.
Oh, okay. If we're gonna do that, okay, I'll do it. But I'm just gonna let everybody know this is gonna be painful for me.
All right. Well,
It said 2, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Is there?
It's a lot of them.
Is there a first one? Because I don't seem to have that. I have 2, 3, and 4. Any like?
What do you mean you have it?
Kyrick suggested originally the second one. There's always Genghis Khan 2. There's so many Super Nintendo games though. But
Romance
do you need to play the first one to understand the second one?
No, you don't.
Okay. You guys just.
I mean, there's a lot of history there and stuff. So, but no, I don't think you need to play the first one.
The
There's
first
actually
one
a
was on NES.
podcast.
Yeah.
There's actually a podcast about this game.
Oh wow.
Romance of the Three Kingdoms podcast.
It's pretty deep. I'm gonna let you know now. It's pretty deep.
Is it gonna be something we can discuss, or is it gonna be like 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there will be. You'll be able to discuss it if you get into it.
All right.
But it's gonna be painful for me.
All right. Well, let's play the second one because that's the first one on the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
You gotta just send me your stuff because you already have the games, which is weird. I don't.
I'll help you out.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Everything Noob podcast. Be sure to go to everythingnoob.com. You can always tweet us at everythingnoob, but everythingnoob.com to leave a comment, a voice message, anything you'd like to use to join in on the discussion. So very easy to leave a voice message from your computer, and you don't have to use the phone, but you can. That's there too. So many ways to get in touch, and yeah. I think with that, we're out of here.
Hashtag tweet my pain.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Everything Noob podcast. Hit up everythingnoob.com for our show notes, blogs, YouTube and Twitch channels, previous episodes, and even a t-shirt store. Please game responsibly, and we'll see you next week.